welcome to my channel. My name is Cristina and I come to you from Lisbon, Portugal. I have to check if I'm recording. I am, sorry, but I've been out of practice and I don't know how to do this anymore. So, first of all, yes, last time I recorded was the 30th of December. So it's the first time since last year that I'm recording, and I am totally out of practice. Actually, that's why I haven't recorded sooner, because first I thought that I hadn't done anything related to books. I thought that I hadn't read anything, and then I was a little bit. It's always difficult for me to restart. So I'm here now and I intend to record more often than what I've been doing until now. So I hope I can, because I miss talking about books and about my plans, etc. So what I'm going to do now, and I took some notes and today I brought the notes with me. So what I'm going to do now is just recall some of my intentions for the beginning of this year, and then I will talk about my near future plans for reading. So first I remember that I mentioned last video that there were certain books that I was going to read throughout the year, and I did advance in those books. So one of the books was Don Quixote, which many are going to read in the month of March. I am joining that Voxer group where they are reading that, and I intend to perhaps accelerate a bit my rhythm. I'm not sure yet. So, but because I'm doing something which is, I'm reading, I have a physical book which is in Spanish, and I also bought the audiobook and I read. It's so funny, hearing the Spanish pronunciation and reading at the same time. I love that. So I'm reading and listening to the audio at the same time, and then I revise what I listened to and read by listening to an English translation and see if I understood well what was happening, because some of the words in Spanish are, as I said, I just am reading and I more or less guess what's been said because of the similarities of our languages, Castilian and Portuguese, but still there are lots of differences. So, but I am advancing and it's been fun. It's a little bit it's interesting, and my book has hundreds and hundreds of notes, which I one day will read with some more attention, because we've got, as I said before, I like reading classics because of the references that we find to them in other books. And I'm sorry, here it's also the same. I mean, Cervantes quotes and makes reference to lots of other books that came before. Actually, the origin of Don Quixote, so what led him to his adventures, were books. So he was an obsessive reader. So I guess that we all know our destiny, because we are so obsessed with hearing BookTube with some books that our destiny is already traced. Okay, then I am reading with Faith and some others, The City of God by St. Augustine. I can show you here. I have here my iPad where I have some of the Kindle books that I own and that I'm reading this time. So the city of God here. Okay, yes. And we have finished book 4 of this, and it's been very, very interesting. Augustine was a very modern man, I guess. And he's quite biting in his words and in his critiques. It's very funny. Actually, he makes fun of certain things. And one of the things that I liked a lot is actually related to another book I'm reading throughout the year, which is The Divine Comedy by Dante. So I am currently reading Paradiso. I am also following Tom from Tom LA Books in his videos about each canto. I got a bit behind, but am now uh, um, almost where Tom is in his videos. And one of the things that I found interesting, which I already said and I really like a lot, is the connections between what we read. And so St. Augustine, in one of the books I read, he gives us a brief history of the Roman Empire until the year 400 and something. That's when he wrote The City of God, I think. And so the other day I was reading Canto 6 of Paradiso, and the Emperor Justinian, which he is there in Paradiso, he also summarizes the history of Rome. So I remember that when I was reading it first, I said, where did I hear about this? And of course, I had heard about those same facts in City of God. Then I saw Tom's book, and he mentions that, uh, Augustine's perspective is much more negative than Justinian's one in the Canto 6, or Dante's perspective more correctly. So, but I love the relationship between the books. And the Divine Comedy was written more or less 900 years after the City of God. So that's very interesting for me. Okay, so City of God. Then, of course, Paradiso, as I said, I'm reading along. And The Brothers K, which I am, so February was the month for the second book. And I confess that I am stuck here. I have started several times chapter 5 of book 2, which is about some theory that I still need to read at least once more to understand what they mean by it's they are commenting on an article that Ivan Karamazov wrote, which is related to justice and courts and religious courts and civil courts or non-religion ones, and I have to read it again to understand this chapter better. But I am enjoying trying to digest this very, very slowly. It's been fun, not boring at all. And those were my year-long readings. Then I also mentioned that I wanted to read some non-fiction, which I didn't. I didn't read any non-fiction at all. I had plans to read a book on Tolkien, a book, the biography of the Bronte and the Bronte sisters, and the book of the Human Laws or something like that by Robert Greene. I didn't pick, I don't know, I wasn't in the mood for non-fiction, I guess. I didn't pick any. I still don't know what I'm going to do. I think that because March is already full of so many books, I think that I'm going to postpone those readings for the next quarter or even later. I don't know. But not, I'm not going to read any now. Another thing I also didn't do because I forgot. I intended to read one play of Shakespeare per month. We are already at the end of the second month and I haven't. So today, after I finish recording, I am going to read the last act of King John because I stopped there and I never picked it up. And then I will pick another play to read in March because, and I don't know, I have read tragedy, I have read another one which is two other books, a comedy, and I don't know where The Tempest fits in, I don't remember. So I read, and then I read this historical play. So I think that I'm going to pick a tragedy next. We'll see. But I want to continue my reading because I enjoy it so much and then I forget. So these were my plans, long-term plans, but then I had those read-alongs that I started and personal projects, not only read-alongs but personal projects. So one of my personal projects was to read a book by Dickens, one book per quarter, and in a publication order. So the first book was the Pickwick Papers, which I read and I finished and I enjoyed a lot. It's not a typical novel, it's more several episodes that there is a continuation in the book, but it's more a sequence of events that are separated from each other. And Mr. Pickwick is a great character. He's very, very cute, actually, and a very good soul. And I also liked the friendships that we see between several characters and even loyalty between some of them. So it's a very funny book as well. Some of the episodes are very comic, but it was a fun read. But now I'm a little bit behind because it took me longer than I thought. So I also wanted to read a book by Thomas Hardy and a book by George Eliot, and let's see what I can do in March. But I have in my plans to read Under the Greenwood Tree by Thomas Hardy and Scenes of a Clerical Life by George Eliot. Let's see if I can do anything like that in March. In my reading of the Palliser series by Anthony Trollope, we some other people and I started reading Can You Forgive Her, which is the first book in the series, and so we dedicated 2 months to read those books, and I love it. I am so glad that I found out about Trollope 2 years ago. I hadn't read anything before, and meanwhile I read the whole Bastardship Chronicles, and now I'm enjoying this as well. I like his style. He addresses the reader often. He makes his remarks on what's happening. And it's like a film where the director or some of other people are commenting on the film. That's, in a way, that's how it's done. But it's lovely always. Some interesting characters. I loved Glencora Palliser, for example, and I don't know. I love it. And I'm going to start now in March the second book of the series, which I forgot to check what's the name. I don't know if it's Eustace Diamonds or something like that, but I really don't know. I will see it and mention it next time. Then for the humorous book, I read My Man Jeeves, which is a book of short stories by P.G. Wodehouse. And some other people in the group read the first novel, because this is not a novel. The first novel about Jeeves and Bertie Wooster. I read this one, and um, it's always funny, always enjoyable. And now for March, the project is to read a book called Some Experiences of an Irish RM, which is I don't know, but it's a magistrate. I don't know. Now I forgot the other name, the R, what it stands for. But the decision for this book was a suggestion by, I think it was Face that suggested it. But the idea was that March is also the month of reading Irish related stuff. And so this was the book chosen. Let's see if I can, if I manage to read it. I hope so, but because there's so much other stuff here. And I also mentioned that I was reading in the first 6 months of the year. I'm reading Lord of the Rings, and I'm finishing the second book now. I will finish it today for sure, because I'm also reading it slowly. And in March, I'm moving on to the third book of 6, because that's how Tolkien divided his book in 6 parts. So, and what else? So, oh, but I joined the group that is reading poetry, and in February they read some T.S. Eliot books, and I found out where I had my book from my years in university. So this printing is from 1987, where I was studying T.S. Eliot, and among many others. And I only read The Song of Alfred Prufrock, which I love. And I also enjoyed reading my notes that because I don't remember what I studied about it, but it's full of tiny notes. And I did enjoy reading through my notes. Now I still want to read The Wasteland, because all the other people read The Wasteland and many other poems. Because, for example, my book here has several poems, as you can see. And I'm reading. I have already started, and I'm also using something that I will show you here, which is an app I have. Where is it? Here. Which is The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, and this is one of the things that I love in digital stuff, is the things that they can do like this. So this app has several readings of the poem, and let me see. There is a performance where there's video too by Fiona Shaw. She's a well-known actress. She is the aunt, Harry Potter's aunt in the films. And then we have there are 2 readings by T.S. Eliot, one from 1933 and one from 1947. There's a reading by Alec Guinness, which is very good, I think, and the one I'm reading now, or listening to now while I read, is that one. A reading by Ted Hughes, a reading by Jeremy Irons and Eileen Atkins, and a reading by Viggo Mortensen. So, and then we have lots of videos with several people commenting. They are called, I think that's what they call perspectives. And we have perspectives by Seamus Heaney. So there are videos where they talk about certain things. Then we have Paul Keegan. Who else? Jim McHugh, Craig Rain, Fiona Shaw, Frank Turner, Jeanette Winterson. So, and all these people have several videos where they talk about a particular aspect. And then we have notes, we have the manuscript, and like this, and then also in handwriting first, we have all the additions or that Ezra Pound did to the manuscript. And there's also lots and lots of notes, so we can be following the readings and or just reading by ourselves, and we have lots and lots of notes while we are reading, and many things more. So I always love this app, and I am enjoying it now that I'm rereading The Wasteland. So, but I highly recommend this. I don't know if this group is going to read or what they are going to read next as far as poetry is concerned, and I might go into it again because I don't know, but it's very easy for me to forget that I also enjoy poetry, and that I love to watch the videos of Thursday's readings or Thursday's poems. I don't know, that I see in the videos by Aaron Facer and David Wiley and Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads. And I really enjoy those readings. And so let's see if I get into the habit of reading poetry again, because I used to read a lot and now I'm not doing it. What else? So I intend to keep on doing that, and I intend to reread The Wasteland again. Then I read also recently a book, a fantasy book that I wasn't going to, but then I saw that some people in the Discord by Evie, she was only Evie, I think that's the name. They were reading The Bear and the Nightingale, the first book in a trilogy of fantasy that is set in Russia in the 15th century, I think. And I decided to read the first book because I had the audiobook and I had never listened to it. So I think I bought it on a sale, and then I never picked it up. I enjoyed this, but I don't know whether I'm going to read the other two books soon or not, because I have so many other things that I want to read, and some are calling for my name. So let's see. But it is an enjoyable read, very cold, very wintry. Perhaps that's why now it's so warm here now, and the sun is so strong that even with the clouds, that the sky is pretty cloudy, but it's still not wintry at all. And I think that book should be read in the winter, or those books. Next, I also read. After all, I read a non-fiction book because it was the beginning of the year, and I always think about time and using time well, I reread a book called Make Time, which is about focusing our attention on the things that matter. I think that's the subtitle of the book, and I don't remember the names of the authors. I'll try to put the book, to put it in the description box. I also finished the trilogy, the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, and I loved it. The book I read is Last Argument of Kings. The third book, I gave it 5 stars, and I really, really enjoyed this trilogy, and I think that I'm going to read the. It's a book, a standalone book, but it's in this world, and it's in the. I'm going to try to read it in order. There's another trilogy then, but there are some individual books, standalones, in the middle, but they are set in the same world. And the next one is Best Served Cold, and I think I'm going to read it because I love the characters of this trilogy so much. Two of them I think that are among my favorite characters of all time. I intended to do that tag video about the 20 favorite characters, and I did do a list. What I did was a list of my recent reads from 2021, and two of them are from this trilogy. So I don't know if I'm going to ever record that, or if I feel that this video is kind of a restart for me in BookTube. So I was tagged in many tags. I lost count because I didn't take note of them. Those that I didn't lose count, I forgot to do them. So I'm going to restart. So I might not do that tag, or perhaps one day, if I'm in the mood of doing a tag, I will pick it up. But and maybe my answers will be completely different than those that I put in that list, because as I said, I chose from the more recent reads, and who knows what I'm going to read and if I'm going to find other favorites. So my intentions for the near future are, well, to read the second book in the Palliser series, to read Some Experience of an Irish RM, Resident Magistrate. That's what RM is. Okay, resident. That's the word that I was missing. Perhaps read Best Served Cold. I also intend to continue with several series, as you know, and I mentioned that in the last video, that there are several fantasy series that I want to continue reading, and there are several that, I forgot that I started The Wolves of the Cala, which that's the 5th book of Stephen King's Dark Tower, and I am at, well, here they say I'm at 6%, so, but I am enjoying it already, although the characters that we have been following, Roland's Quartet, they haven't appeared yet. I think that I'm going to read the next book in The Shadow of the App, which is, I just read the 2 first books, so I have here The Blood of the Mantis. I also have Children of Dune and The Clove Conciliator to read. This one, The Clove the Conciliator, I will have to read it very slowly because it is difficult. I love it, but it's difficult. And I also have the next book in the first trilogy of Robin Hood worlds, and this is Royal Assassin. I have here the where is it? Here, the first book of the Malazan series, which I also said that I intended to start. And then I have a mammoth because March is the month of the mammoth. So I have decided that I was going to read. Is it here? Sorry. Yes, Shogun or Shogun. I don't know how they say it. By James Clavell, which is his first book in his Asian saga. And there is a book. It's a read along organized between, I don't know. I know that Mark from Book Time with Elvis is in. It's one of the organizers, and Noah from Everyone Who Reads Must Converse. So I am. I remember many years ago, my youngest sister read this, and I think that she read the second one, Taipan too, and she loved it. So I am quite curious. It's historical fiction, which it's one of the genre I love. So that's a lot of stuff to read, as you can see. Let me see if I have here any other thing that I might not. Oh yes, there is. First, I forgot to mention that I decided to start in the 1st of January, and I am going on every day. I read a bit. I'm doing the plan, which is a Bible in a year reading plan. And I'm following along with the podcast that was actually it was recorded for last year, but then they are publishing the same episodes again, which is with who the person who's reading is a Catholic priest, which is Father Mike Schmitz. I think that's his name. I hear his name every day, but so, and I'm so glad I'm doing it because, again, lots of references and lots of stuff I'm learning. I had already started several times. So, of course, Genesis I always finished, but then the others, somewhere, I don't know where, I stopped. And now I have already read, I follow with a book. Sometimes I don't, I just listen, but I'm we are already in Numbers, which, as the title says, has lots and lots of numbers. I think that must be an accountant's dream, that book. And Deuteronomy. So Deuteronomy. I think that's how you say it in English. I don't know. So that's the two books we are reading, and then also some of now we are reading some Psalms as well. So it's been great, and I have learned already lots of stuff. One of the things I love is language, and I love to learn about the origin of certain words, of certain terms, of certain expressions, and with the Bible and even other books. For example, in St. Augustine, he's talking about all those gods that Romans and had, and when he mentions some of the names of the gods, I can see where we certain phrases that we use in Portuguese came from. So I am enjoying this very much. I'm going to continue with my reading of all those long-term projects and with my shorter term projects, and we'll see. Well, I feel that I've been talking for lots and lots of time, and before everyone dies of boredom because of what I've been rambling on, I am going to stop here, and I hope that I can stick to a more regular plan of recording to make, first of all, these videos shorter, and also to see if I don't get lost in as I'm doing it now. I forgot that I want to participate in the March Mystery Madness or something like that, and I'm not going to follow any prompts or things like that. I just want to read some mysteries. And I have here a book that I started in Christmas. Actually, I ordered this book for for 2020's Christmas, but that's when the pandemic hit, and it took forever to arrive. So when it arrived, Christmas was already gone, and I put it in my shelf. And then this Christmas I started, but as you can see, it's short stories, and I didn't read. I read perhaps half of the book, so I'm going to read the other half because I don't want to have an incomplete read. I'm enjoying the stories. They are by famous mystery writers, so I'm going to read this. And also, I forgot to mention that I'm also reading some stories by Isaac Asimov, part of the future history project, which is organized by Sean Stanfast, Mark Richardson, and Scott Bryant. And I am enjoying the stories I'm reading. And I finally ordered the Complete Robot book because I won a prize. Imagine me winning something. I won a prize in Andrews from, I don't remember the name of this channel, Wizardly something. Oh, I can check that here. And there is a ongoing game there in the Discord, which is some people post clues of different types, and we have to guess the book. Some clues are just words, some are scrambled letters, some are gifts, like this last two. Some are some funny description of what the book is about, and then we may ask yes no questions related to that, and then try to guess. And it's such a fun thing. I love this type of games, and so I've been participating since it began. And every month I think that they see, between those people that guessed all the books, they randomly pick a person and they give it a gift. In this case, it was a $20 gift to buy a book, and I won. And I bought the book, The Complete Robot. So short, they are stories by Isaac Asimov, several of his robot stories, and now I'm waiting for it to arrive. And so let's see. Now I'm going to finish, but I am going to show you something, because after all, this is knitting books, etc. And I've been knitting a lot, but as normally I knit, it's a lot, but it's actually less than what I'm used to, or what I was used to. And I also, my knitting is a little bit like my book reading. I knit more than I don't know how many projects at the same time. So progress is not very fast because I am so much divided. But one of the things that I started, I think it was in November, was a jacket, which was to be my winter jacket. And so the first objective was to finish it by Christmas, then to finish it by Epiphany, and then it's February and I haven't finished. I am not going to wear it this year, or this winter, I mean, because of course perhaps in autumn I might be able to wear it again, or to wear it for the first time. But I wanted to show you because it's quite advanced now. It hasn't been blocked, but this is a jacket. I even sewed the buttons, which is something that I hate to do. So here it is. It is a linen stitch, two-color linen stitch jacket. It has a double collar here. It's doubled, meaning it's quite thick. And here it is an A line, so here in the back there's this, which is, I don't remember, a pleat or whatever. I don't remember what's the name in English. And I am now, all the details of the body are finished. I am now knitting the first sleeve, which is will be a 3/4 sleeve, which then will have also, it will be turned, and there will be a finish like this one, which is called an I-cord finish that we have in the front as well. And so it has pockets, as you can see, a double hem, doubled, it's also doubled, so very, very warm, useless for this time of year now, because springtime has arrived here. But I wanted to show you this. So, and this is the yarn is some Portuguese wool from Serra da Estrela, I think, which is a cold place we have here in Portugal and the highest point. And the designer is also a friend of mine, a Portuguese designer. She just does very cool stuff. And the name, which is also the name of the yarn, it's called Amália, which is in honor of a fado singer, Amália Rodrigues. And the pattern of this jacket is also called Amália because it was developed to be used, or to use this yarn, well, to use it in the knitting of the jacket. So I'll stop now, and let's see how long did this take. I hope I'll see you soon again. Bye.